So if you go to Google and you type a search for something, you'll see the Google's results page landscape is what I call it. That's what you see, right? You'll see sponsored at the top. It'll say sponsored, and then it'll have links to websites. You'll have local. You'll have the map there. You'll have organic under that. See, when I first started doing this back in the day, 25 years ago, and Google got into this business, they were the best organic search engine. The best, meaning like if you put up a piece of content, you typed a keyword, Google would give it to you, give you a website in response organically, and it was free, and that's how they started. Well, then they got into the pay-per-click. They invented it, the pay-per-click game, where you buy keywords. So companies, you can do this. Anybody can do it. I can do it. You can buy any keywords that you want, and they compete. We compete for them. And so the cost of those keywords go up the more people that want those keywords and click on them, all right? And it's all part of Google's big scheme to take as much money out of your pocket as they can. Everybody's. So that's what pay-per-click is. They're in multiple spots in Google now, because Google is very greedy, and so it's inserted it more and more and more and pushed down organic more and more and more. So if you're not doing pay-per-click, you need to consider it. But you don't want to do irresponsible pay-per-click. So you want to make sure that you're not just buying, estate planner Pennsylvania. You don't want to buy, like Free Wills, New York, right? You don't want to do estate planner. You don't want to do those because, one, that's very expensive, and two, that's not going to bring you good clients. That's going to bring you all the people that says, don't you work for free? Don't I get this for free? Or argue with you when you tell them that, how much it costs. And then what are they going to do? They're going to go give you a bad review. So you don't want to attract these crazy people. So you don't want to get those general, what I call the vanity keywords. So don't go for those. You want to go for the ones that your perfect clients search for. And how do you figure that out? So we'll get more into that later, but really the best way to understand that, and this goes to organic keywords and what kind of content you're going to be adding to your website and what kind of pay-per-click keywords that you want to bid on, is what are the top questions that your perfect clients ask you? Your favorite person. Now imagine them right now. They're sitting in front of you. Wow, man, Dave Smith, he's the best guy ever. And I love this guy. He pays me a ton of money, and I enjoy being with him. That's the other part of it, too. It's not all about the money. It's also about, do you enjoy working with this person? Do they respect you, right? Or do they treat you right? And so what questions do they ask? And you write them down. Or you ask them. Get the conversation started. But this is what you need to be doing. What part of their estate plan? I'll tell a story about Dave Freeze. Who knows Dave Freeze? I know, Jim, you do. Dave Freeze is in Pennsylvania, and he's a very infamous estate planning lawyer.
Prominent.
Yeah, prominent. Great guy, great marketer. And years ago, he came down to my video studio. I used to have a big video studio in Fairfax, Virginia, green screen studio, before the pandemic. And he came down and he shot all these great videos. And they were like bizarre subjects. Like, what if you want to protect your beach house from getting to your son-in-law that you can't stand? That's like a very long tail kind of thing. And it's very niched and it's very specific. But only like people that have money have a beach house, right? So and what happened was, he ended up getting a ton of very wealthy clients because of that video alone. And it wasn't even the client. It wasn't even the client that was doing the search. It was their assistants of the client, their personal assistants. And through those videos, he's gotten, like, I know, sports team owners, families. He only has the uber wealthy in Chester County. And that's another thing, is he's in Chester County, which is one of the wealthiest counties in the country.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Place to work.
Yeah. And so some other tips. You don't want, if you do irresponsible bidding, your pay-per-click budget will be out of control before you know it. The other thing is, don't work with these companies, agencies. Look, my industry is like, it's a bad industry, as you guys know, as Phil was talking about. There's a lot of medicine men out there, snake oil salesmen, that are going to tell you, oh, they can get you to page 1. They're going to say all the things that you want to hear. But how are they going to do it? They're going to get you to page 1 for those vanity keywords, and they're going to use pay-per-click to do it. They're going to tell you how much money that you need to spend. And the other thing, too, is they get a percentage of that spend. That's how that works. It's like media buying on pay-per-click. So most web agencies, if you say, okay, my budget's $5,000 a month, they're going to take anywhere from 15% to 45% of that budget for themselves. So it's really only half of that, or maybe a little more, that's actually going to Google. So you got to watch out for these guys. That's not what we do, but that's what most of them do. Most of the big names out there that you know, like FindLaw, FindLaw's on the high end of that. So be very careful about that. Because, and then they're constantly pushing you to spend more money there because you're like, this isn't working. Oh, you got to spend more money, right? Who hasn't heard that? This isn't working. You got to spend more money. Okay, and you don't want to feed Google's greed. Tips: start with a small budget first. Work with somebody that you can trust. And what I talked about is target those keywords that are, that are very niche, that are few and far between. Don't target those big keywords. You only want to target those, what we call long tail, which are those searches that your perfect clients type into Google. And you want to refine over time. You don't want to just sit on it and have it do its thing. I'll tell you what, when I first started doing this, and they turned on AdWords pay-per-click in YouTube, when YouTube first came out, I was like, wow, man, cool. And I put up a video there, and I can't even remember how much budget it was. And then I left. Matt remembers this. I just left it alone. And I didn't check on it until, I think it was, what, $12,000 later?
Like
15 grand. I didn't get anything from it. Nothing. Why? Because I wasn't paying attention. And that easily happens. You get it's like subscriptions. You get hooked up with this stuff, and the stuff just rolls and rolls and rolls. Well, don't let this happen with pay-per-click.